Greetings, welcome back. It looks like my volume is way too high. Let me fix that. Hold on a second. All right, how's that? That looks better. Whoa, a little high still. There we are. All right, now you can adjust your volume. Still kind of working on some stuff, and I was like, hey, I need to fix that screen up really quick. So we got it, and hopefully we're good. Let's just double check everything. Yeah, there we are. Yeah, except our camera's way too far that way. Man, I got to get my... One of the problems I'm trying to figure out here is getting the angles right with multiple monitors set up. So there we go. That's a little bit better. Let me go up a touch. Of course, I'm going to have to fix my other screen, but we'll get that taken care of. That's a little bit better there. All right. Well, how is everybody doing? We are still getting wound up with the new setup here. It is a little bit different than I had in the past. Hopefully it looks a little bit nicer. Let me double check. There's our comments, looks good there, and yeah, that one needs fixed a little bit there. Let me fix that up a touch. Down a little bit. All right, I think we're pretty good. So let's go ahead and have a look at our comments. Of course, we're going to be having a look at two excellent distributions, FerenOS versus Linux Mint. I think Feren's kind of hinting a fact that we might actually see a new version of FerenOS today. If that is the case, that's not the one we are looking at right this second. But anyway, I just downloaded it last night. So, and I did not do anything more than install it and just verify that, yep, it seems to work. And January OS snapshot is up. So yes, he has a Medium post over there. He has dropped it into the live chat section on the Discord server, so you can jump in there and do that. And Feren, please be nice to me because you know your bit distro better than I do, I gotta say. Anyway, decision of Qt to make the LTS version non-open source going to affect KDE Plasma. Ooh, that is interesting. I had not seen that before, but that is definitely worth a look. FerenOS versus Linux Mint. This is going to be good. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Has KDE from the start, but Linux Mint 20.1 has more nice features going for it. Define features because there's a lot more user option choices in FerenOS. Linux Mint doesn't get as much into that, but just kind of assumes that you want to use a system much like Windows. FerenOS has more options. Maybe it has that Plasma overload. There's too many options for us to get an idea of it. I don't know. You kind of decide on that. We'll look at what that looks like. It's possible to install KDE on Linux Mint. Yeah, I haven't tested it with the newer versions. I still run a on my media PC when if Arch happens to not work or anything. I actually have a version. I have a Linux Mint Plasma on the SSD in that computer in the event it doesn't work right. Gotta go now. When was FerenOS last updated? Today. Today, yes, and I'm using the previous one. Was that November? Did I read that right? Or was I looking at a different distribution? Questions. My concern about FerenOS has always been they don't have a community forum or a wiki pages, whereas a newbie myself can get on and search for help topics. Has this changed? Great. Jump onto any one of the Linux Discords. FerenOS is active on all of them. You can jump on mine, which is tlm.li/STLD. FerenOS hangs out over there a lot, and you will get any amount of help. Additionally, anything that's like help topics that relate to Ubuntu are generally going to work for FerenOS as well. So while they don't necessarily have a giant dedicated channel, he is on any Linux Discord server you can jump onto. So that's that. Should make a channel that is only videos of the cat. Maybe. I don't know. Yesterday has already happened, so them having KDE first doesn't mean anything. The kitty's very young. There you go. Using VirtualBox to test a Linux Mint with KDE installed on it. I even created custom Mint Plasma themes. Very cool. Do you still have to install backports for that? I haven't looked into it for a while, and you used to install backports to make that work. Stops, looks back, forth, goes to cleaning himself. Yeah, I know. He's that kind of cat. He is indeed that kind of cat. I wouldn't guess what did that. Breaking news, literally. Yep, there you go. So the brand new version of Feren is officially out. I'm not on the brand new version. I downloaded it, installed it last night. Have you considered custom keyboards at all? Nah, this is like, I just bought this one for this PC. I think that this is one of the best Logitech ones. It's a unifying keyboard, so I bought that, bought a new mouse, unified them together so that I have one USB receiver for both the keyboard and the mouse. I like that one. And then I took the old one I had on this computer and I threw that on my other work computer because I used to have to swap back and forth and it was kind of annoying. It'd be cool to have better keyboards, but nah. Have to be completely unbiased. Hey man, I know. I'm gonna try. There are some excellent things about FerenOS. Sneaky sneak with that shameless plug to your Discord server. I know, right? Hey, guy asked where he could find you, man. Oh boy. Guess I can always tell you, and you're seeing stuff that has changed. Yeah, I did spend a little bit of time reading through the website, make sure I didn't miss anything, but absolutely. So speaking of which, guess we'll go ahead and get started in on the video portion here. Let me go back to this guy here and let me queue up our web browser view and put that right in front of my face. And then we'll get started on that. Welcome back to another Distro Wars here on Switch to Linux. And today we're going to look at two of the best distributions there are. Linux Mint, of course, the old hat, long-term, let's make a perfect distribution for people coming from Windows and switching to Linux. And then the runner-up, FerenOS, which has just taken the world by storm, which is such an amazing distribution as well. I love this distribution. And it has a lot more functions and features. It was based on Linux Mint. It is now based on Ubuntu and running Plasma at its core because that gave him the option to much more easily put in a lot of different functions and features. Some may say there's too many functions and features. I will go ahead and let you be the judge of that. But what we're going to do is first, let's go ahead and have a look at their websites. And so this is FerenOS.weebly.com. You can come on over here. You can grab the OS and read a lot about it. So it's just a very nice, clean, easy to use website, rock solid foundation, designed for security and privacy. And really, they do an excellent job. They have a lot of functions and features, all open source. Now, you do need to note the ones down here at the bottom. One of these notes, Vivaldi is included in FerenOS, which is not completely open source. There's large portions of it that are, but they do have a privacy policy and a EULA. So he does make that very clear on the website as well. So just be aware of that. And why do you do that? Because there are a number of Linux users that love Vivaldi. It's a good choice to have as an easy option available to you. Now, this is going to be contending with Linux Mint, which is my favorite Linux distribution. I'm not going to let that bias get in the way of the review, if at all possible. But they did just drop just earlier this week, 20.1. This is one of the greatest releases of Linux Mint for a while. Somebody accused me of saying, you always say that, and that's actually not the case. I said in the 19, yeah, baby, hold off on it. Even in the 20, yeah, hold off on a little bit. Just because I needed to see where they were going with things. But they actually are adding new software. They're adding ICE applications by default, so you can build in web apps built into the menu, onto the panels, onto the desktop, wherever you want those to be. They have a new hypnotics tool. They've added a lot of extra features that people have been asking for in the Cinnamon desktop, like favorites and things like that. Now, the one note on Linux Mint 20.1 is if you are using an AMD Ryzen 5 like I am, there have been some issues going back into the 19.3 branch. And I've experienced these a couple times. I found that Linux Mint 19.3 on the Ryzen processor, the Ryzen 2 specifically, or which one do I have? The Ryzen 5 specifically, which is the one I have. There are actually some issues on the kernel that ships with it, which if I remember is 5.4. And they say in their notes, upgrade to 5.8. You should not have any of those problems. So I'm going to do that on my other build that I do run on this computer occasionally. So Linux Mint Cinnamon is out now. Linux Mint has 3 different versions. They have the Cinnamon, they have the Mate, and they have the XFCE. They all provide effectively the same use. So there is your one downside on Linux Mint is all of them look like the Windows type build. FerenOS gives us options to have alternative layouts in addition. And so what we're going to do is let's go ahead and boot up FerenOS, and when we get that guy booted up, we'll go ahead and have a look at what that looks like. Now, FerenOS it appears to be an OEM installer by default. Everything in this is polished from the top to the bottom. This is certainly one of the most polished Linux distributions. You never see lines of code. Well, I take that back. I see this line of code just for a brief second. But everything else just goes right into splash screens, logout screens, just everything that looks really nice. And so we land on the desktop. Here we have our login screen. We're going to go ahead and get logged in over here. And then it's going to land you on the desktop. And I have to say that the basic default FerenOS configuration I am not a particular fan of. But that's okay, because right on the desktop you're going to see the options to change your layouts. Silence for editing purposes. Does seem to take some time to boot, I'll tell you that. So here we have landed on the desktop. And like I said, I'm not a huge fan of the default layout configuration. This is the menu that we have, which is probably my least favorite Plasma menu. It is modern in that you can search for things. You can see everything laid out like this. So it's not exactly bad. I just personally don't like the look of it. That's a pure personal preference type thing. We have our calendar and our clocks down here. So very nice polish to it. I'm just not a huge fan of this particular layout. We can see here the default menu. We have the Vivaldi browser. We have the store. We have files. Let's go ahead and boot up the store real quick, see what this guy is going to look like. So it's going to be generating the cache the first time you load it. So this looks like it's going to be the Linux Mint store. We have Flatpak options right here. We have our various options that we can search for. Let's go ahead and look at Kdenlive is the one application I tend to look for. So following the Linux Mint store, we can see very clearly the repo version of Kdenlive versus the Flatpak version of Kdenlive. That's actually pretty good. Now, as far as not liking the desktop layout, that's okay. You can come on over here and double click on your desktop layout icon. And then this guy here is going to boot up an application which just gives us a few awesome desktop layouts. So the Cupertino, this one is more of your Apple type layout. So give it a second here to finish refreshing. So here we have a nice panel, just like we might find on a Mac. We have all of our system tray information up here at the top, and everything works out pretty nicely. So literally everything just looks very much, very Mac-like here. Let's go ahead and do this. And then this is our application menu. And I do like this one. This is a nice Plasma screen. Definitely a little bit different than Mac as you imagine, but very easy to use, very easy to understand. Nice full screen, very good. The Familiar, if I remember correctly, I believe the Familiar is actually like your Windows 10 layout. And so this guy here is going to have everything laid out like Windows 10, including, look at this, you can trick people into thinking it's actually Windows 10. So you have this option as your layout, very familiar. Your Redmond is more of your older, your more classic, maybe like your Windows 7 type look. So here we have a little bit smaller panel. Our menu is much more Windows 7-esque. Of course, we have here's our defaults. Here's our Ubuntu. Here's if you're running like a touch screen or one of the Lenovo flips. So you have a lot of options for the layouts over here as well. We do have a global theme option as well on the desktop. And this guy here is just going to give us our I believe this is just going to give us our accent colors. So set up our accent colors, I believe. Maybe not. I didn't double check what all those guys are there, but they do have all of the options for different things. Oh, maybe it did. Maybe it did. I think it just doesn't get the menus. So it's getting everything else, just not the main menu there. We do have a welcome screen. We didn't see it on the very first time we booted up, just because it will only boot up that first time. Oop, I opened it twice. My apologies. So here we are. When we get our welcome screen, we have the ability here. So here is apps, basically repository things and Flatpaks. We also do have some apps. So it tells you here the snap support is not installed. Would you like to install it? This is a good approach. This is an approach that Linux Mint does not take. Linux Mint is fundamentally against snap packages. While it is possible to enable them and they give you documentation for it, it's not as easy as clicking a button. And why is that? Well, if you're new to Linux, Snap is a little bit controversial in some of the things. You either love them or you hate them. And that's all there is to it. So for me, I'm not a huge fan of snaps. I avoid them if at all possible. Linux Mint suits me just fine. But for the people that really do like them and have no problem with them, this is a very nice one quick simple button to enable snap support. Still, Manjaro manages this better than anybody. It's a toggle button. Toggle on, toggle off. Toggle on, toggle off. No big deal. So here we are setting up our snap stuff. So there you go. I have no problem with that type of approach. I'm not ever really going to fault a distro for running snaps. I'm just not a huge fan of Ubuntu making snaps the whole point of them. And so here we are, still making some changes there. I am noticing that I'd like to get back to the main menu now. Maybe I can't. Maybe I'm already on the main menu. So that's pretty much all we have in that system there. It does appear as though the accent colors are not as easy to change as they were in the past. Maybe I'm just missing something. This is actually one of the first times I've looked at Feren since they've made their switch to Plasma. I think that's done. Uh-oh, it's aborting the snap install. It kind of stopped there on me. So again, you're kind of getting a fresh view of this for me, because this is actually the first time I've looked at it on Plasma, I think. I can't remember for sure. One of the notices that I did see on the system is they do announce that they will update everything automatically. So let's go ahead and pull up the update manager, though, see what it's doing. So update new version is available. That's because I think it's using Linux Mint's software manager, and so there is a new version of that out since the new version has dropped, so it's going to download that. But they do have it set up to do your minor updates automatically, not your major updates. You either love that or you hate that, just letting you know that is an option. So we can see here that there are a lot of updates to do. Now, the time I'm recording this video, I'm recording this on the day they dropped the brand new version. However, I got everything prepped up the night before, so I'm still running the older version. So that's why there's so many updates. I intentionally did not want to run updates before running the video. So as far as software installed that has the full suite of software you might need, we have under graphics, we have Krita, which is like an Illustrator. Excuse me, that's like a Photoshop. Inkscape is like Illustrator, my apologies. We have LibreOffice Draw. Here we have Geary for email, the KDE Connect. This is for connecting your Android phone. We have the Connect SMS to do text messaging off your phone. The other option here, Web Browser Manager. This is an awesome tool that FerenOS has built as well. This guy here, if you don't like Vivaldi, you can come in here and very easily add Google Chrome, Chromium, Microsoft Edge is coming soon. I'm not sure if that's in there or not, and I can't see my comments right now. I was going to ask Feren if, actually, Feren, let me know. Is that in the new version yet, or is that still coming? And I'll update you guys on the next part here after I look at the comments between the video clips. Here's Firefox, Brave, Opera, WaterFox, Falcon, and GnomeWeb. So you have a lot of options if you don't want to use Vivaldi. Multimedia, we have VLC Cheese. We have the full suite of LibreOffice. Calendar tools, here's our basic settings. Everything KDE, we're not going to get into the KDE. That should be mostly the same. So there is, in a nutshell, Feren. Very easy to change your layouts, a lot of cool options, snap support out of the box if that's important to you. Of these two, Feren is going to be easier to go. Of course, I got caught on that screen. I looked like it had stopped doing whatever it was doing and closed it accidentally. Just don't do that. Flatpak support out of the box and everything else. So there is Feren. Let's go ahead and close it down. I want to see if the closing animations are just as good as the boot up animations are. Should give us some nice sound there. And then here we have some closing animations, and then it's going to close down. All right. Hey, Yates Networks, thank you for the super chat, my friend. Thank you for all the streams and all the hard work. Hey, Mitchell, how's it going there? I'm a noob. I got a noob. No, I am a noob. Yes, I am a noob on this version of Feren. And now I get to read about all how he's yelling at me now because, yeah, because I didn't look at it. And the reason I didn't, I really wanted to get a fresh perspective look. But let's see, where am I at? There we are. Install and requires Ubuntu backports. That's what I thought. Guess I can always tell you when seeing stuff change in the new snapshot. Yep. Immediately, I guess I'll mention right-click menus are now opaque where blur is disabled. Okay. Okay, let's see. Been on Mint for a few years now. I'm not going to switch unless I have a really good reason. Yeah, I mean, I love Mint. That's what I use on all my basic stuff. How's the website open before I hit publish to change the information? Oh, really? Yeah, I did. I had it open. I had it open about an hour ago, I think. How do you install Hypnotics on FerenOS? Yeah, I don't know. I'll let him answer. I think it's actually in the Linux Mint repositories at this point. Change desktop icons, except send feedback were removed because, to be fair, Tour mentions, or was that Tom mentions, where they can be found in the system settings. Distros, use them both. Wish I knew half as much about desktop Linux as Feren does. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. It's really good. Get rid of the remaining icons once you get to revamping it. All right. All color schemes are no longer global. Themes are now exclusively in colors. Okay, thank you. Let's see. Do you need to check if Canonical fixed the snap theming issues? Prime time to get relaxed, enjoy the fruits of your labor. Haven't earned this time to shine. All right, thank you again, Mitch, for the super chat. So the Linux community is that some of the developers try to block the user from getting something just because they disagree. Let the Linux user make their choice. Yeah. Just close the console with installing snaps. Yeah, it looked like it had stopped or something. Like I couldn't see what was going on, and so I did just close it out. That was a whoopsie on my half. I killed the process. Oh, well. Could be counted as a fail. Yeah, that was my fault. That was my fault. Terminals don't seem to have an option to keep processes running. That's the problem I ran into. So I don't know if there's a way to fix that for the noob user. To see. Let's see. No, LibreWolf is still kind of new, so we'll see. Let's see. Web browser manager is kind of on life support right now until the new FerenOS store is ready. All right. Arch or Fedora for now. Get browsers without having to go through the terminal. Yeah, that's good. Tours and application, the applications menu. Oh yeah. The tour, that's the one I missed out on. That was the first one that launched, and my apologies. I should have showed that. How do you ask a question? Just go ahead and ask. I will answer questions in between portions. I do have to jump off like right at 3 today, so we're gonna keep an eye out for that. Let's see. Proton. Okay. Let's see. Still in class, can't wait to watch it. Yeah, I will XRX. I'll have the edited version up at some point. It may not be right after. I'll just keep the stream live until I get the edited version out. I get this crazy busy couple days. One of the things I've been working on has been getting the I have the new Christian Authors podcast. It's going out to all the different podcast feeds. I think we have Google set up and Spotify set up, and I got the notification that TuneIn is now up. I just haven't had a chance to get the link on the site yet. But if you're interested in those types of things, I have a, let me find the website link for that for you guys. So what I'm doing is, as part of my publishing company, is I am actually interviewing authors. And if you guys are interested in that, they are Christian books, so be aware of that. If you're not into that, ignore this one, but you can head on over there. I have the video podcast versions are on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute, YouTube, NewTube, Joshu TV. We have a direct podcast feed. A Spotify podcast feed is live. Google podcast feed is now live. And all of the other big podcast feeds are now pending. That's what I've been doing for most of my last couple days, is getting all that stuff up and ready to go. Let's see. How do you like Budgie? Do you think it's better than GNOME? I do like Budgie than GNOME. I'm not a huge fan of GNOME. I think Budgie is really good. Greetings, pizza. How's it going there? Tried the new Edge for Linux and like it so far. Yeah, I'd be a little concerned with the data collection, but as a browser, standing alone as a browser, man, is it good. It is really good. All right, I'm going to go ahead and boot up Linux Mint, and then we will start part 2 of this episode. Show us the installer, or did I miss that? Which part? I did not show the installer. Both of the installers are pretty much the same. Feren, is that Edge available in the new version yet or not yet? I'll go with, I don't know. As a Christian, do you buy into COVID? Remember Camp 2020? Like, I don't think COVID has anything to do with Christian thought. There's people on one end of it who are like, we need to not be as crazy about it. There's people on the other end, like Focus on the Family is telling everybody, if you love your neighbor, you're going to get the vaccine. I'm not a huge fan of that type of argument either. I would prefer to look at the science. And for the average population, in my opinion, the average population, COVID does not pose a major risk. For certain populations, it does, and certain populations should definitely consider it. But that's kind of my perspective. How do you ask a question in the video? What do you mean? What do you mean how to ask a question in the video? I don't know. All right, we're going to go ahead and jump into the next part, and then we'll come back up and press space in the web browser manager. For what? I saw that you typed that again twice. I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, we'll go ahead and get into part 2, and then we'll address the rest of the comments. So here we are on the Linux Mint login screen. So this guy here is the Cinnamon version, and this is the brand new shiny version of Linux Mint that just came out. This is 20.1, and there's a lot of really good features and such in this guy. Just need to move my monitor around a little bit there. You can see it better. All right, so now this guy here, the Mint welcome, is going to show up every time you boot up the computer until you uncheck this box here. Not a lot has changed here, but Linux Mint does listen to its users, and so they've given us a couple of neat options. One of these is now we have a quick accent color. Of course, the default for Linux Mint is green, but you can come in here and select different options. So here is your orange and your dark versions. So here, everything throughout the desktop, from the icons to the menu, everything now changes to whatever your accent color is right out of the box. So a lot of people have been asking for that type of feature. We also have the more modern layout, which is more like a Windows 10 approach, and we have the more traditional. I like a hybrid of the two. I actually like the size and the icon styles and things of the modern. I just don't like the functionality. So you can actually edit and tweak the panel and turn the functionality into the old traditional. But because if you click on the traditional layout one, you'll see that it behaves like it, but the panel's a little bit smaller. We can, of course, come in here and we can edit the panel and make the panel a little bit larger and things like that. But I actually like the design look. We'll do that. There we are. So I actually like the design look of the older style. or of the newer style, but I just like the function of the old. So we do still have the options to do either one within Linux Mint. We have our system snapshots, which is like your old Windows Restore. We have a driver manager right here, the update manager, system settings, software manager. Now let's go ahead and start with the software manager because they are using the same software manager here that Feren is using. And the Linux Mint team has created this guy. So this is a slightly newer version than the one we had on the last video, although I'm pretty confident that this will be the same now. So here's your, again, your flat packs. We have everything else is going to be the same. The only difference is on Linux Mint, you're not going to be able to install snaps out of the box. There are some settings and some options you can do and to change that. And the reason is Linux Mint is fundamentally against the model for snaps because they require a proprietary distribution root. That's why. The snaps themselves are not proprietary. But the distribution root is, and that's really what they have an issue with. And as soon as Canonical opens that up, they will have no problem supporting it. We also have our update manager down here. Again, we're going to see the same thing we saw before, where it might want to anyway, install the new version. So yep, let's go ahead and apply the update for the update manager. So you can go ahead and do that. And then, well, that's working. We also have a notification system. Again, in response to user requests, they made it look a whole lot less scary. Like, it's frightening, you know. Move that out of the way. That's the software updater. So this guy over here, let's see. There's your update manager. Here's your system report. So install language packs. I'm just going to go ahead and ignore the language packs and set up the restore system. And I personally, I'm not a huge fan of time shift, so I just turn that off. It's good to use for some people. So here we have the updates available in the last couple of days. That's going to be all the same as FerenOS as well. So as far as your options and your layouts, this does not give you quite as many web browser choices out of the box. There's no easy web browser manager. But as you look through the menu, it is a little bit more cleaned up in that it doesn't have a lot of the extra tools and utilities. Now, again, that is a concern of Plasma itself, where Plasma at times is known to be a little bit hard on the settings because it's like there's so many settings you can get lost. And that would be something that Feren could fall into as well, with a lot of extra settings. Where do you update the web browsers? Where do you update the accent colors and things like that? And in reality here, it's a lot more streamlined because Linux Mint's not trying to be every layout. It's not trying to be the perfect for every single computer user. It's like we want to come with something that's very familiar to your Windows users without compromising the functionality. And so it's clean, it's simple, and that's really one of the reasons I like it. It also is a full utility, which of course a lot of these things, some people look at that and say, oh, that's bloat. A character map, who uses that? I'm the geek that uses a character map. Okay, I like the character map. I'm glad it's here. Now there's other stuff on here I find useless, like Redshift. I do not buy into this whole blue colors at night makes you bad at sleeping. I stare at computer monitors all day long. I have no problem going to sleep at the end of the day, folks. So that is kind of bloat on my production systems. I usually uninstall, but that's okay. As far as other software, very similar, full software suites. We have Rhythmbox instead of VLC. FerenOS has VLC, which covers video and music, but is a little bit heavier. This one here uses celluloid for your movies and videos, and Rhythmbox for your music, which are both a little bit lighter. We do have, under graphics, we have the drawing instead of your Krita. So like Krita and GIMP are excellent programs, but they're also very advanced for your basic user. This is basically like Windows Paint. Very simple. That's why they swapped that one out. You can still install GIMP or Krita, no big deal. They've given us Thunderbird instead of, what's the one they were using over in Feren? So there's a few small systematic changes. Now I'll point out two applications that are brand new to Linux Mint. One of these is Hypnotics. This will allow you to watch live TV programs around the world through streaming. And the other one is the Web Apps tool, which will allow you to create containerized website applications, adding them to the menus and whatever else. So both excellent choices. Which one of these is going to be your absolute best choice? Well, honestly, you're not going to go wrong with either one of these. They're both fabulous distributions. I personally like Linux Mint. It doesn't give me overkill as far as our colorations. It doesn't give me overkill as far as just anything as far as options. Like, I don't need a Cupertino layout. I don't need the Redmond layout. I don't need all these different layouts. I'm happy with this is how we look out of the box. Here's what we get. And we don't get lost in settings. That's why I like Linux Mint. But for a person new to Linux wanting a better, broader experience, Feren does bring a lot of things to the table. It brings to the table the ability to choose which layout that you want. It has an easier choice of figuring out your websites. And I believe the accent colors are all there. It's just a matter of they were in a different spot than I was looking for them, and that was something that he corrected me on in between our two video clips. And also I did say I would ask about Edge. I didn't hear a specific response about Edge, but he did say that the web browser installer is on life support until the new version of the Feren store comes out. So that's something to look forward to. It's something great coming on down the pipeline. So there we have it, guys. Two excellent distributions. You're not going to go wrong with either one of them. Both of them are great. My personal preference, I use Linux Mint on most of my production computers. And so I absolutely love it. It just works perfect for me. It's exactly what I was looking for coming to Linux. FerenOS, though, is also just an excellent distribution. So have a look at both of them. And as he says on his website, Feren says on the website, if you're not sure if it's going to work best for you, you are very welcome to download a copy of it, put it on a USB drive, and you can run the computer on that USB drive for a while until you're comfortable with it. And you can do the same with Mint as well in most Linux distributions. So that's kind of my final take on that. And with that, guys, we'll go ahead and leave this here. Let me know your favorite one of the distributions here or other distributions I should be looking at in future editions of DistroWars. So thanks for watching, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux. All right, where's my comments? I need my comments. Let me shut down my Linux Mint now. If I do this, why am I looking at the comments now? A little bit. All right. Let's see. Where we got? Vaccine is the Antichrist. I actually did a video about that yesterday. If you did not see it on my Christian channel, I'll go ahead and put the URL link here. Of course, you can find it on Rumble and BitChute as well. I'll drop the YouTube link though. So the video I did yesterday on my Christian channel, I actually asked, is the vaccine the mark of the beast? So if you are curious about that and my thoughts, although I will say, I was corrected by a good friend of mine who spends a lot more time in eschatology than I do, that now I have a few things out of order in my thing, but for the most part, I was good. Pretty much harmless, but obviously with exceptions. And that's what the data seems to show. You know, Pope Francis says people have a moral obligation. Yeah, well, Pope Francis is a heretic. Jumping in a bit late. Sorry. Hope you're doing well. Very good. Just got over COVID. Still kicking around, playing with Linux. There you go. Sometimes I feel Linux Mint lacks certain polish. I don't know. I don't get that feeling, but hey, there's a lot of different Linux distributions out there. We are all welcome to try all the different distributions we want. Just installed Linux Mint on my spare laptop, by far most favorite distribution. Absolutely. Congrats on survival. That's right. Linux Mint is all right. I've actually been liking it so far. FerenOS is really good as well. Yep. Feren is the only Plasma distro you like. Very good. Yeah, some Plasma distros tend to be a little buggy at times, but Feren seems pretty good, I think. Don't like apt for some reason. All right. Well, apt doesn't like you. Oh, you're adding Hypnotics as well. Very cool. Very good. Awesome. FerenOS has edited version of system reports called System Maintenance. Very good. All right. Used to use apt, but recently tried out Endeavor OS and Anarchy and have gotten used to Pacman at this point. Yeah, I like them both. Given FerenOS has character map in it, does it? Yeah, I didn't check for all of them. Yeah, I should have probably looked at Feren a little bit more and then reinstalled it fresh. That's what I should have done. That. Getting all the podcast feeds hooked up though, it was just like, I'm glad it's over. Now I'm just waiting for emails to tell me if they're there or not. Let's see if I got any more of them. Woohoo! I'm approved on iTunes. Very cool. All right, guys. So anybody interested in that podcast that uses iTunes, we are approved on iTunes. I'll get the link up on the site here soon. Okay, same with Redshift is questionable. Yeah, I mean, some people do. However, I can say this though. While I do keep the screens on, I don't mess with any of that. The lighting, I actually moved the old LEDs that were way too bright, the ones that used to be in the corner. I actually moved those right across me, so they're kind of looking at me now, right along this wall and ceiling. And all I have there is red and green. I don't have the blue lights, and it's very calming at night when I have my lights turned on because I don't use the main regular light as much unless I absolutely have to. But I'll tell you, there's something about having the green and the red lights together that just kind of gives a soft glow in the office at night. It's kind of cool. Says a guy who stays up all night and sleeps in the morning. Hey, I did get up at like 9 today. So yeah, I did go to sleep early though. I think I went to sleep at about 2:30. Good middle ground between KDE and GNOME. Like FerenOS takes some of the elements in minutes and integrates them in. Yep. Interest you in a bit of Vivaldi.com. All right. Unworthy unbeliever. Which browser are you switching to? Yeah, purging Firefox from their insanity. You here met Linus Torvalds? No, I have not. All right. Yeah, some people were recommending looking at Basilisk and Iridium that I haven't looked at yet on the web browser video I did the other day. I heard about the Mozilla stuff lately. Yeah, most Linux distros should just drop Mozilla software at this point. Yeah, I don't know. Somebody had the argument in the comments. They said, as long as they're not putting censorship directly in the browser itself, who cares? And I don't know, maybe that's a valid point. But if you start feeling that hardcore about it, you're going to put that in at some point in time. Or at least you're going to add it to the studies things or whatever they're doing. Chromium sucks. I have found that Firefox crashes my Arch system if I have too many. If I have more than 5 web browser tabs open on Firefox, it completely crashes my Arch system. I have not noticed that on other web browsers. Should package vanilla Chromium like Pop! OS or Mint. Use a fork or Gecko-based browser with no ties. Yeah. Mint isn't vanilla Chromium. Chromium, except for they put all of their special Firefox configs into Chromium. Yeah, I did notice that. When I pulled up Chromium on Linux Mint 21, it does default you to the Linux Mint page. I didn't see if they had anything else. I use a fork every day with dinner. No, I've not met neither Richard Stallman nor Linus Torvalds. FerenOS dev, they're very open about Yahoo sponsorship. Record the butchering, that is the new tab page isn't designed for Yahoo being a search engine. Bit frustrated on Debian dropping Chromium out of their testing branch. Uh-oh. Linux Mint fan, all right. See you later, Dio. Peppermint Mint Ice collaboration looks dope. Yeah, it's very good. Works very well. Linux Mint work well with a touch screen. Like, it works fine with a touch screen. It's not, like, the icon sizes and such is not necessarily optimized for a touch screen. Plasma's better at that, I think. GNOME is certainly better at that. So those two are both. In fact, FerenOS has a touchscreen mode. So if you are using a one like that. Now, I have a laptop with a touchscreen. I actually disable it because I find touchscreens on a laptop useless. So, Gpotter there. Yeah, if you use Gpotter, you can just plug the stream directly from my directly from the website in there. That's owicpub.com if you are interested in that podcast. Hello from the great state of Dumpster Fire, California. There you go. How'd you do that with your setup? How did I do what with my setup? Love the balloon alien in the background. Yes, he is. That is Roger. That is Roger. Didn't like a Radium when I tried it. Too many issues with live streams. Okay. Love channel. Looking forward to your Christian channel. Absolutely. Yeah. So Larry, I have a couple. I have the main Christian channel, which is where I do the teaching stuff. I have another one because I have a Christian publishing company. So I just created the other one, which is only going to have things related to the publishing company and the podcasts. So that one's going to have only podcast interviews and podcast interviews on one hand, and any book promotional types things for customers over there. So that's where you can find that. Basilisk is basically Pale Moon, but with more modern UI. All right. Linux Mint can work with touchscreen, but not as good as Windows. Can you edit 4K or 8K videos in FerenOS or Linux Mint? 4K for sure. I don't know about 8K. I mean, I can't say I've tried either one. Hello, Sapafulula. How's it going there? Mini Chromium completely hangs on more than one window, but Firefox works superb. That's interesting. Yeah, I don't have problems with Chromium, just Firefox. Financially supporting Mozilla, which supports far-left ideology. Yeah. Sometimes you can't get completely hung up over what people support, as long as you're not throwing it in my face. And that's unfortunately what Mozilla is throwing it in my face. And that's kind of the problem. Who won? I think it's kind of a tie. It depends on what you need. Have I tried LibreWolf? Yeah, you must not have watched my browser video the other day. That was my #1 web browser for this year. Find Arch should be more stable than Ubuntu. I haven't had problems running Arch. I've had it on this computer now for about 2 years now. Haven't had any problems with it, other than Firefox crashes it. Huge fan of GNOME, but POP does it right. Oh, POP does it right, I guess. Yeah. Good program that draws diagrams. No idea what we're looking at. Let me see. What is that program? Visio. Let's see what Visio looks like. I got about less than 5 minutes. Okay, diagramming and vectoring software. All right, let's head on over to alternative 2. Want to boot back FerenOS up. Try opening browser manager and hitting the space key. I don't know what that does. I've asked you what that does. I don't have time to do that right now. I have to be off the stream at 3. So if you can tell me what that's going to do, that might be useful information for somebody, but I do not have time to do it right now. LibreOffice Draw is showing up as an alternative, which I've used LibreOffice for. I've used that for active PDFs as well. So there's a few. Just head on over to alternative 2, and you'll see various options and things. Imagine if all the Linux desktop communities got together to make one ultimate desktop. Now, the problem is with that, though, is that if everybody gets together and focuses on one thing, we're going to have Windows again. That's why I like the distribution. I like the separation. I like the fact that there's maybe too many options in Linux, because it prevents one group from taking over and declaring what everybody's going to do from this time forward, which is what we don't want to do. Too much selection at this point. Okay, all right. It's a secret. It's a secret. All right. I won't do it right now. I'll think if I can do that later on. But there you go. If you guys are running FerenOS, boot up the web manager, web browser manager, and hit the space key. Notice that Linux Mint 20.1 installs faster than the previous version. I have not actually installed it on anything yet other than a VirtualBox, but I am actually slated to, I'm actually going to be wiping my laptop, my Linux Mint laptop soon, and putting the brand new version on it. Things like that. So anyway, I think we're going to wrap this guy up after we feed the kitty cat, but we got to feed the kitty cat first, don't we? Where's the kitty cam? Oh, there's the kitty cam. He's like, I see you. I see you opening that drawer. I see you opening that drawer. Oh, no, you stay right there. You stay right there, buddy. You stay right there. Oh, no, back up here. Back up in your chair. Come on. Back up in your chair. Back up in your chair. Come on. There you go. And stop showing everyone your butt. They don't want to see your butt. They want to see the cute part of you, not your butt. Here, I got that. Brought to you by Temptations. There you go. Oh, for the camera. For the camera. Oh, one more, buddy, one more. Oh, yeah, are they finger licking good? They're finger licking good. All right. Respectfully, Linux needs to work on a layer lower than desktops. Yeah. You could set YouTube stream on much lower lag, ultra low latency. If anyone wants to find out what pressing spacebar web manager does, download it today. There you go, guys. You will be driven mad if you do not download FerenOS today and press the spacebar in browser manager. Layout with Windows managers, DE, obfuscate. Bring mic close to the cat. All right. Have to wipe your hard drive. Well, the hard drive needs wiped, and there's some other things I wanted to do on it as well. You can roll them up, but I found, like, I started that computer on Linux Mint 17.3, and it is so slow to boot that I think if I wipe it out, it's just going to fix all that stuff. All right, guys, we are going to wrap this one up here. Let me make sure there's nobody over there saying over there. All right. Not Gary over on Discord, but they're going to put it closed source into Firefox. There you go. Post the link to the Libra Wolf image. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Let's see. If I can find it. It is a little hard to navigate. There it is. Okay, there's releases. Found them. All right. There you go. There is the releases page. You can grab app images, flat packs there. So you can go grab those guys there. All right, guys, we are going to jump off. Thanks for hanging out, everybody, and we will see you in the next stream, which should be, it's Wednesday, so that's tomorrow. We'll be doing a supporter stream. We'll catch you guys then. Thank you for watching this video from Switched2Linux. This channel would not be possible without the backing of the program supporters scrolling on the screen now. You can be a supporter at Patreon at patreon.com/TOMM or at thinklifemedia.com. I also want to thank the open source community who creates such excellent software that makes producing this show possible. Please remember to support your software communities. Thank you, and I hope that you enjoy switching